What would you do if you were to realize that you have been sharing your partner with your parent? This is a story we are just about to have and understand how it happened and the consequences. Because in this story, there were consequences. Stay tuned. My name is Kingore Wangeshi. Ann Ndung'u is a single mother of three, two sons and a daughter. They live in Naivasha, Nakuru County in Kenya. They all live in a single room. She had a usual childhood, just like the rest of the kids in her neighborhood, in the same county. Neither her grandparents nor her parents were well off.
Mom used to go to work in the market and would live off whatever she made.
When she completed her primary level education, she engaged with the activities of her villagers, like collecting firewood from a nearby forest. It is here she met her abuser.
The others ran away and I was left behind screaming. That guy sexually assaulted me, but in those days we could not report it.
She feared that she would be stigmatized if she reported that she had been sexually assaulted. However, she could not hide for long. She had unknowingly conceived.
My grandmother suspected that something was going wrong, so she called Mom and told her to check on me.
They went to the hospital and she was confirmed to be 4 months pregnant. Because of her situation, Ann and her mother were told to leave the homestead to go and stay far away from the family in a family land. Ann ran away.
In the streets, I went to the streets and started living there. I felt bad when Mom started crying after they confronted her. I had grown up there. It is her tears that made me go to the streets.
Ann survived on the streets despite being pregnant, without a care of the danger it posed on her. Unfortunately, she would get assaulted repeatedly in the streets by street boys, at one point by 5 men until she lost her pregnancy.
The people that had brought me to the hospital had said that I was a street child, but when I woke up, I said that I had a family. My family was contacted and they came to me and they took me back home.
While at home, a man who was a family friend and who used to visit said he will get her a job in the town where he lived in Naivasha. He did not have a wife, an important detail in this story, as you shall see.
There were no cell phones at that time, only pay phones. When I arrived in Naivasha, I called a man and he came to get me. He took me to his place.
Ann wasn't lucky to get a job. Her mother discouraged her from going back home. Surprisingly, the man also discouraged her from seeking a job as a house help, telling her that house helps are usually mistreated. The man asked her to be his wife. She had lost hope, therefore she agreed.
Nothing inspired hope at all. I was not going to school or anywhere else. I saw that it was better for me to get married.
And just like that, Ann became a housewife to the family friend. However, anytime they would make love, she would bleed profusely.
I thought maybe I had not healed from miscarriage that I had suffered. I wondered why I was bleeding that much.
She visited the hospital and after some tests, she was given some medication, but the bleeding did not stop. She even sought the help of herbal doctors in vain. Then there was a bombshell from her husband.
Then one day my husband sat me down and told me that he was not able to make babies. He told me that he wanted a family, so he asked me to go out and make babies for him, that he will take care of them.
She went back to the village and got pregnant. Her husband had no issues at all with this arrangement. She got another child out of wedlock. This time round, her husband didn't like it because she hadn't okayed it. However, their problem persisted.
Making love to my husband always had me bleeding.
She left the marriage for the sake of her health. However, her mother was against the idea of her leaving the marriage, and in particular, this man. As a matter of fact, when she requested for a meeting with her family and her husband to discuss the issue, her mother and her husband did not turn up. Where were they?
They were at their mother's place chilling as I was wailing on how I wanted to leave that man because of the problems I was going through. My mother was supporting him and being by his side.
As if that was not enough, Ann says her mother disowned her, and there was a reason.
I would later come to realize what was going on. I came to learn that they had been friends with my mother for a long time. They had been friends even before I got married to that man. One night, they were seen together in deep of the night by another villager.
They had an intimate relationship for a long time. Ann says that when she was living with her husband in Naivasha, her mother would visit and stay with them. and she would go to work, leave them at home.
I usually ask myself what they used to do when I left them behind. I wonder they used to get intimate whenever I left them together at home. Culturally, that is a taboo. I had been bleeding whenever I had made love with my husband for 8 years.
When Anne asked the elders about her situation, they told her that it was a taboo to get involved intimately with a family member. They told her it was the reason she used to bleed whenever they got intimate with her husband. Surprisingly, when she left her husband, she has since been healthy, and when she gets involved with any other man, she does not bleed. Anne's tribulations did not end there. She got involved with a pastor.
I did not seek in prayer whether he was the right one for me. I felt that I was lucky. I had decided that I was going to get married by a man with whom I would have one child. Then he would help take care of the others.
However, she decided to test if her bleeding problem would recur. She did an experiment. What experiment was this?
He was fine. I never bled when I slept with him. I did not hurt in any way. I feared getting into marriage and then suffer the challenges that I had in my previous marriage. That is why I experimented. Everything was fine, so I decided to take things further. I did not tell him these things, but I knew what I was doing. I wanted to know whether I was okay so that I could decide to get married.
Unfortunately, when the pastor realized she was pregnant, he ran away.
I tried to call his phone, but it was off. After 2 days of his absence, I went to look for him where he had been living. I found that even his things were not there. He left his clothes with me, my kids in a double room, and I was pregnant. A pastor abandoned me.
Anne's life has not been easy, bringing up all her 3 children alone. And at this point, she does not think she will ever get married. All she wants is to give her children a better life, and while at it, treat them better than she was treated by her own mother. And that's Anne's strange story. Keep watching.